I grew up in the inner city hating police officers. That was my circle. That was my environment. That's what the environment that I was raised in and that I chose to stay in at the time told me to do. They trained me. Hate the cops. Anytime you see a cop, this is the emotion I want you to feel. I want you to not trust them. I want you to think that they're racist. So that's what I did. But the moment that I stepped out of that environment and looked back in, I went, hold up. That's not right, because there are a lot of good police officers out there. And now I'm a police officer, right? Because I took that step. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy AJ. And first and foremost, I want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. The second thing I want to do is give a huge shout out to our sponsor, Thin Line Anthem. They are currently offering 25% off your entire order during checkout. They have a new product, some BCAAs. Make sure you check them out as well. All you have to do is enter the promo code It's Needed, all capital letters, no spaces, during checkout. 25% off your entire order. Enjoy the episode.
Yo, what's going on? Welcome to another episode of the It's Needed podcast, where we discuss real issues involving law enforcement in the community. It's your boy Ryan Tillman, founder of Breaking Barriers United, and I'm joined today by the light-skinned wonder himself, Mr. Oh No, it's the Popo.
I feel like my goatee deserves an intro too, because my goatee is looking really nice today.
Bro,
I just want to put it out there.
That looked like
I'm
a
just
shadow.
Saying, I seen yours last week when we were FaceTime, and I was like, okay, we could both play this game. Battle of the goatees, hey, it is.
Yours look like a shadow right now, bro. Look like you got some.
I don't want like a big.
You got some dirt on your face.
Facial hair is hard. Let's just put that out there. Like I could grow it. Like I could grow it like thick and like long.
Man.
But it's hard to like figure out what to do with. So I'm just experimenting.
Well, I'll give you credit though, because you could grow a beard. Like fair or foul though, that my wife made me cut my little quasi beard that I had going on for picture day.
Peach fuzz.
Yeah, that I think I'm calling foul, bro. That was foul that you made me cut it, bro. It took me everything to grow that thing. So anyway, we are joined also by the Savage himself. What's going on, Billy?
Yeah, I can't grow facial hair, but I'm working on my back hair for No Shave November. So.
Ooh,
what?
Ooh, that's a bad visual.
Hey,
I didn't want that.
Do you remember when Billy grew out his facial hair though? My man looked like a director.
No, I remember he tried to grow out his facial hair. I don't remember it successfully happening ever.
That's true. Oh man, he looked like all he needed was a ponytail.
I remember when Billy came dressed up in a suit like a real producer one day for no reason. I was like, okay,
we
Billy.
had a chief in the building. I had to look good.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Had his little hair flipped in the front. I was like, I'm jealous.
Man.
I can't grow the hair up top. Like,
oh my goodness, what's going on, fellas? What's the word?
I can't call it, man. Rainy day here in Columbus, Ohio. What's up, y'all's way?
I just got off the golf course. It was nice out there.
You stay golfing, bro. Like you go. How many times a week do you golf?
Hey man, you mind your business.
Okay, so
mind your business, shorty.
All right, let's make a deal here for the whole world to hear. Next time I come out there, you gotta take me out to the golf course and take me golfing for the first time ever.
Oh, done deal. Done deal.
I've never been golfing before.
I'll probably lose my patience with you, but done deal.
So I was just gonna say you gotta have patience because I could probably throw the ball further than I can hit it.
Oh man, I'll tell you this though. You go out there and you like all it takes is like one or two good shots. Like you can swing and hit like 100 terrible shots, but you hit like two good ones. It's like, oh, I like this. It makes you addicted. It makes you addicted after that. So on average, Billy, I probably go about once a week.
That's a lie. Billy, are you a golfer?
I'm not. I've only been a few times, and I was just so bad I didn't really enjoy it.
But Billy,
now putt. I could putt.
I love miniature golf. Yeah.
Yeah, we could putt.
Bill, I can see Billy trying to break a golf club out there.
Yeah, Billy too. Like
Billy would probably lose his Christian.
I do get kind of frustrated. I play tennis. I like tennis.
Billy probably one of those tennis players that probably be like going like real hard, bro, making loud noises. I feel
like Billy would be good at golf because he could, like, his body probably, he's probably flexible enough to swing the.
I don't think he has the patience for it. I've seen the way Billy snaps at these cameras in here, bro.
You ain't lying.
There's some truth to that. There's some truth to that.
Yeah,
can I start off today with a fair or foul?
You the producer. You tell us.
Usually when he wants to start with a fair foul, I get nervous, bro, because
so I don't even know if I told AJ, but my wife and I recently bought a home.
Oh, I know where this is going.
And
congrats.
And my wife went to all this trouble to make these electronic RSVPs and send them out to all these people. And someone RSVP'd that they were coming to our housewarming yesterday. And then they weren't
didn't
there.
show up.
They weren't there. So like there was food, and
Oh, betrayal.
All right, so you just gonna put me out there for the whole
betrayal.
for the
Hollywood
whole world to hear
Tillman.
this.
Hollywood Tillman.
So I'll take the blame on that. So let me tell you this.
Like you got a choice. Like,
Well, it's me or my wife.
Yeah, I did that.
It's me and my wife. But I'm gonna take the blame. Here's why. So I'm not gonna lie to y'all. So my wife, she was planning on going. No joke. Like she was going. She was planning on going. She was like, "Hey, I'll just go by myself." Because I was like, "Hey, I was exhausted. Had a long week of training, and then I had something else that came up." So, anyways, Sunday rolled around yesterday. Whatever, bro. Whatever.
I'm playing my violin.
Whatever.
I'm playing it.
So Sunday rolled around. One, we woke up late. Two, I'm not even gonna lie, and because you guys are some of my really good friends, I'm gonna tell y'all how it is. I'm gonna be transparent with y'all. Bro, I just got lost in the shuffle watching Sunday football yesterday, bro. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all.
So that means he looked at the clock and was like, nah.
Oh, 100%.
No,
100%.
He remembered and went, nah.
That means I didn't even look at the clock, bro. Honestly, bro, like, you know what I was looking at all day yesterday was my fantasy football, bro, because it was a close game. So I kid you not. And then like it was just crazy. The kids were crazy, but I'm not off on Sundays. And so couldn't tell you the last time I was off on a Sunday. Couldn't tell you the last time I was able to watch Sunday football. And bro, I literally just got lost in the sauce, bro. Lost in the sauce.
You ever heard somebody try to like big up a story like way bigger than what it really was? That's what Ryan. It was crazy. It was so close. Joe Burrow broke his knee, and I was crazy. I couldn't leave the TV.
I was on the edge of my seat. I was on the edge of my seat watching fantasy football. But forgive me, Billy. We owe y'all.
There will be plenty of other chances.
We owe
no
y'all.
worries.
Hey, we did come to the birthday party though.
Oh yeah, we've had too many events lately. I get it.
We came to Bianca's surprise birthday party. We did come to that.
Hey, so I got to verify. I ain't even know about the house till just now. I'm finding out with all of y'all listening right now. What's up with that?
The whole moving process is stressful, so I didn't even think about bringing it up.
You know what? Everybody is full of excuses today. That's all I'm hearing.
Well,
Excuses from every direction.
AJ, I was watching football. Just
you got lost in the sauce. It was crazy. It was so much football was going on.
Hey, here we go, man. They hating on your own boy. Anyway.
Well, Billy, congrats, Billy. And let me know what I could get you as a housewarming gift, because I ain't gonna get it for you.
I know what I can get you for a housewarming gift when y'all move.
Ooh, here we go.
I'm gonna get you a pull-up bar, bro.
Oh, that hurt. That cut me deep.
Because you can use it, right? So
I could. Listen,
hey, fair or foul that AJ posted a picture yesterday when he was buff and tried to act like he was current. It was a current photo. But I wasn't gonna stand for that since I've been working hard. I make sure to call that out.
I can't work out right now.
I was like, dang, AJ, you look buff back then. And
he did. Back then, you look real good back then, AJ. You kind of sloppy now. You soup sandwich.
He tried to slide that picture in the back door like everybody was gonna think that was current.
Like it was current.
Like dang, AJ doing it right now.
Yesterday.
AJ doing
That's
it.
okay. That's okay.
Oh man,
that's okay. Hey, in all honesty, I couldn't work out since the injury.
Oh, here we go.
So I gave everybody a 6-month head start.
The post-scooter.
Billy and Ryan, it's a wrap after surgery. Which surgery is December 9th. For everybody listening, I got surgery scheduled. Your boy is about to be back.
That's a big deal. It's been a while. You've been waiting for that. So that's a big deal.
It's been 6 months, and they finally approved it. Kinda, they approved enough to where the surgeon's gonna go in and just do it, get it done with. And then there's like a 4 to 6 month recovery time, but somewhere during that time I'll be able to slide back in, at least light duty, and help put together like community events and whatnot.
Bro,
so
honestly,
I'm definitely looking forward to it.
And for people who don't know, he got hurt during a George Floyd protest, right?
Bro, honestly,
Just people not, yeah.
Honestly, bro, that's got to be like real hard milking an injury for that long.
You said doing what? You said faking an injury that long? I wish, man. I wish.
Man. All right, well, let's get past the jokes. It is a pleasure to be back with you guys always for another week. We are coming up on the end of the year. I mean, thank God. I mean, 2020 is almost over. Now, I will say 2020 in my personal life has actually been a pretty good year, but for the world, it was definitely a trying one, man. And so, but we've stayed committed to this podcast. We have been super committed, so much so I don't think we've missed a week since we decided to make that move to doing podcasts every week. So It's been really good. We had 2 guests on, Chief Williams. If you guys didn't get a chance to catch him, he was on last week's episodes, which was great. And then prior to that, we had Leon on, which was really good. I also have some new guests that will be on in a couple weeks. A guy that actually played in the NFL who is now trying to become a police officer. So we'll have him on probably next week or so. And then we're going to bring back Artie as well. Artie, big news. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but Artie just got off of parole last week. So that was huge.
I gotta call my guy.
Yeah,
that's
man,
dope.
he would love to hear from you, bro. That was huge news. He was like, man, he made a post and said, I am no longer a warden of the state. So
wow,
congrats.
No, that's cool. That's really cool.
So Artie got off of parole. So we're going to bring him back to talk about that, and that episode we're going to actually talk about the power of forgiveness, because nobody's experienced forgiveness like Artie has. I mean, to go from murdering somebody to being able to really truly experience what true forgiveness means and come back and live a good life, man, that's phenomenal. So we're going to talk about that, and then with that being said, what's current events? What you got, AJ?
You know, the only thing that really stands out right now is Kyle. What's his name? Help me out here.
Rittenhouse.
Kyle Rittenhouse was bonded out, right? He bonded out, like there was like a big fundraiser for him. And he's like posing with pictures and whatnot, right? Like people like want to take pictures with him. But social media pages are taking those pictures down like automatically. So I know 2 people who shared the post, like he's like just posing with different people, 2 different pictures. And they used the hashtag, like, and they were actually on 2 different ends of opinions. Like one was a very positive and one was a very negative. Like the other one was like, yeah, I definitely support him being out. He's taking pictures. I'm glad to see him smiling. And the other one was like, you know, I can't believe he bonded out. This is racism, blah, blah, blah. And Instagram took them both down. So, you know, social media is definitely censoring what we view and what we read on the daily. So just be aware of that.
Do you guys feel like the censoring has gone up since it's now so out in the open? Like everyone's like kind of calling it out, and they've ramped it up. I feel like now they're like, oh, we don't have to pretend anymore. Let's just take whatever we want down. It's gotten worse.
I feel like we live in a world where it's like right in front of our face, and they're like, you ain't gonna do nothing about it. What you gonna do about it?
Yeah, what are you gonna do? Exactly.
You gonna keep using the app, so they just keep doing it, you know? Like, remember when we first started seeing targeted advertisements? Like if you would Google a washer and dryer, and then like a washer and dryer would pop up on like your Facebook or your Instagram, and everybody was freaking out like, oh my goodness, what is this? It's to the point now where, for those of you who don't know, I told you last episode, my wife had COVID, and I was joking with her verbally, like face to face, nothing on the phone whatsoever, verbally said to her, I was like, oh, I'm about to go stay at a hotel. And she's like laughing like, haha, no, you not. I hopped on my phone 30 minutes later, and there was nothing but Marriott and Hilton ads on my Instagram page.
Bro, that's crazy.
It is insane. I took a screenshot and sent it to Shelby, like, babe, you see this? She was like, yeah, that's kind of creepy.
Man.
Never looked it up, nothing.
Well, you know, it might be, you know, maybe next episode, if we don't have a guest, maybe we should break down that Rittenhouse thing and why, and talk about what self-defense is, talk about why he either got out or what they're. I think that one might actually be really good to break down. Because,
study up on it and break it down.
Yeah,
I like that.
And it's unfortunate. I mean, a lot of people, they polarize and make, you know, crazy situations like that. They blow it up so that way it becomes bigger than the actual issue itself. And it's kind of sad to say, you know, no matter what side you stand on. And that kind of actually leads me to one of the topics for today. And like I said, we can talk about some more current events. We still obviously don't. You know, everybody's talking about President Biden or President-elect Biden still may be president, but Donald Trump is President Trump.
I'm lost in all of that.
Yeah, I'm so
I don't
lost
know where
in
we're
it.
at. Like,
I'm so lost in it.
Yeah.
I'm so lost in that. So there's
Billy
really
knows. Billy, fill us in.
No, I think we just got waited out, but I don't think Trump's he's got a big hill to climb if he actually made it up there. So
yeah.
I think so too.
I agree. And at the end of the day, no matter who's president, and I think we've talked about this before, no matter who's president, we got to make do with what we have. Like whether it's Trump, whether it's Biden, it shouldn't really affect you that much to where you just say, oh, you know what, throw in the towel. I'm not going to do anything else because such and such is president. So no matter what side of the boat you're on, it still doesn't give you an excuse to just say, oh, I'm going to lay over. So one of the things,
I can't swim, so I ain't getting on no boat.
Oh man, you can't swim, bro? Seriously?
Listen. All right, I'll put it out there. No, I can't swim, man. I can't swim. I can swim like to save my life. Like if you push me in like the deep end of the pool, Like I could swim to the edge to not die, but like if you jump in and you can't swim,
So what you saying is you're not
that's
helping me
on
out.
you.
If we in the deep end
That's
together,
on
we
you.
just not.
Throw
May
a stick or
the
something. I
best
don't
man
know.
survive. You gonna try to pull me down to get you pull yourself up?
Nah. That ain't happening. I'll put you on the front of a t-shirt so everybody remembers you. But
Oh man. So I actually want to bring up something that actually one of my friends actually sent to me. And it was actually really good. And I think it might be a good topic for today. Maybe, maybe not. But it's definitely worth talking about. He said, "Hey, Ryan, I hope all is well, my friend. First off, thank you for a breath of fresh air in law enforcement. You speak the truth and break it down so all can understand. Over the past few weeks, I've seen so much misinformation and divisions, not only in civilian side, but in law enforcement. I see law enforcement websites such as," he names one, I'm not going to name it right now. The site is run by a young NC city officer, North Carolina city officer. On this site, he mainly posts cop memes, but what I see lately is the site's pushing personal agendas and political views. Most concerning is that they openly state how they will refuse to obey any COVID-19 or state mandate rule, openly state views if you didn't vote for this candidate, and openly bash anyone who voices their opinions. Though he doesn't openly show his department, he made it easy to track his name and department. Anyways, my point to all this is the fact that as law enforcement officers, we need not spread a hate and anti-government drama. Cops need to act like cops again. Civilians openly view this and see the divisions across the states. It is that mentality that fuels the fires we fight daily. When they see law enforcement officers not supporting the local governments, why should they? Cops need to set our own higher standards. I know it's frustrating, my friend, but keep doing what you're doing, sir. And this is actually from another police officer. So I guess one of the topics is talking about that higher standard that we're called to as police officers, which
for sure.
He brought up some really good points in that. And I know things get frustrating for people, no doubt about it, whether you're a police officer or not, whether you're a civilian. I know it's frustrating when you see maybe your candidate that you wanted to win that didn't win, or when you see your candidate that's about to win and everybody else is mad because your candidate is about to win. I get it. You're frustrated no matter what side of the boat you fall on. But specifically to police officers, when we look at this, we got to be careful on what we post and what we say. And I've said this time and time again, like as police officers, we're held to a higher standard. And I know it's hard. I know it's, not fair sometimes, but it's a reality. And one of the key sentences that he said in that message that I just read was that if we don't support local government, how can we expect the community to support local government?
That's true. That's very true. That's very true. Or if we don't have faith in like the local government, how can we have other people to have faith in the local government? And something else I want to remind everybody about is our job is to remain unbiased. And that's for a reason. And I'll give you an example of why it's important for us to stay unbiased. Say when the George Floyd incident happened, that you were so emotionally attached to it. George Floyd was murdered by the hands of police officers. I support them protesting. I'm going to let them take the streets and spray paint and demonstrate any way that they want to because I am in support of this. It's okay for you to be in support. Hear me out. It's okay for you to be in support. But what it's not okay for you to do is to treat that demonstration differently than any other demonstration. There are laws and rules in place, and those laws and rules are in place for a reason. So if you did that for the George Floyd protest, demonstration, riot, whatever, then next month or next year, when the KKK comes around and they want to have a demonstration, guess what you open the door to? Other officers going, well, Ryan, he supported what was going on last year, and he let the demonstrators take the state house and spray paint and catch the lawn on fire. So I'm gonna let the KKK do it. There's a reason why you have to stay unbiased, and that's a prime example of it. When you open that door and you walk through it, you leave it open behind you for other officers to walk through, and that's a very dangerous situation to be in.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I mean, most police officers I know are Trump supporters or conservatives, and which is fine, like to each his own. But I've even talked to my wife about this on many occasions. Like she'll post stuff and I'm like, hey, careful on posting certain things because I pride myself on trying to remain as neutral as I can, at least outwardly. You know what I mean? I can feel the way I want to. I can view things how I want to view them personally, but outwardly I need to be as neutral as possible, because how do I expect to reach the person on the other side of the carpet if I'm not coming from a neutral place? You know, and so when I give this anti-rhetoric, and like he was referring to some of these, and I know what he's talking about. There are many police officer sites out there that have memes that are either anti a certain person or pro another person. And when you do that, I mean, think about it. You are still a police officer. So the next time you use force on somebody, that can come back and haunt you. It could easily come back and haunt you, and it has to people, because they're going to say, well, look at this person already had views, so this person hunted my person down or hunted my client down because of his race or his views, his political views, or because of his religion. I mean, you know, there's certain things. So the only one thing that I'll be open about is my faith in Jesus Christ. And I always, because that's for me.
Ain't nobody gonna shut that up.
And for me, that's bigger than, you know, it's bigger than just politics. It's bigger than just local government issues. For me, the reason why I'm able to do what I can do is because he's God. You know what I mean? Now, what I always say, though, is, hey, everybody's entitled to their own beliefs. Like, I'm not going to shut you down if you believe in Buddha, or you believe in, if you're a Muslim, or if you're Jehovah's Witness, or you're a Mormon, whatever it is. I'm not going to shut you down, because you're totally entitled to your belief. But when it comes to my faith in Jesus Christ, that's the only thing that I won't compromise with. But other than that, we have to try to remain in a neutral place, especially when it comes to politics, because we are held to that higher standard.
So I have a genuine question, and this might spark some controversy or some good conversation. And I'll direct the question to Billy and Ryan. Just because I feel like that they might not know the answer. They might both be emotionally attached to it, whatever. I don't get, let me not say that. Can you explain like the anti-mask thought process to me?
The anti-mask?
Anti-mask. Like there are people out there who are like, well, I'm not wearing no mask.
Okay.
You ain't gonna force me to wear a mask.
Yeah, so for me personally, because I both sides of it, you know, even that place I try to remain neutral. So for me, am I huge on the mask? I'm not really huge on the mask. The reason I'm not huge on the mask is more so because there's a lot of things that the government is putting in place that kind of contradict a lot of other, for example, like eating in a restaurant, or you can't, like out here, we can't eat inside of a restaurant, but yet you can set up a tent that's enclosed outside of the restaurant.
I heard about that. Yeah, I heard about that.
And you can still eat inside, like you're technically eating inside. You know what I mean? So anyway, so I say all that to say this is that, and I've also done some like research on the mask, how well the masks protect. There are some masks out there like the N95s, absolutely, like those things are really, really good for you. But unless you have an N95, a lot of these cloth masks, a lot of stuff can still get through. And it's pretty cool because it does like this different lighting, and it shows a black light and shows where where the spit or whatever comes from your mouth, and it still gets through the mask. So my point is that, do I prefer not to wear a mask? Yeah, I prefer not to wear a mask. However, I'm very cautious of my audience. So if I don't know, like if I didn't know you and you and I were in public, I'm gonna wear my mask around you, because you could be one of those guys that, hey, I have preconceived medical conditions, or there's something wrong with me, or just you might be freaked out about it, and so because of that, no big deal, I'll throw a mask on. But if you're like, hey man, I'm not really tripping, I'm not, okay, cool, like maybe I may not wear a mask. So I think one of the things is there's a lot of contradictory, you know, things out there that people are trying to put in place to try to get a hold on COVID-19, but the mask isn't like, I don't know, what's the best way to put it? I guess I'll go back to my restaurant analogy, is that you telling a person to wear a mask, but yet you can eat.
Right.
You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? But that's okay for you. Or, for example, you can't go to church, but you can protest.
Yeah. Yeah. And I get that. Billy, do you have anything to say about this?
Yeah.
I feel like Billy's like over there like, yeah, I got something to say.
Just to start off, I'm not an anti-masker. I'll basically wear it just to make people feel comfortable, and if it's the rules, like outside, I'll wear it. But I think it's like that's a small issue compared to like a broader issue of government overstepping their bounds. And especially with like Dr. Fauci, at first he came out and said, don't wear masks, you're fine. And then come to find out, he openly said, like, I said that when I knew masks were important because I needed the medical field to buy them up before the civilians did. Like that.
Dang,
that was like
I know that.
Yeah, he said don't wear masks because he wanted to make sure we didn't run out. And then they come out and say, oh wait, everyone get your masks. And so it's like the flip flopping. And then that's just a smaller instance of government totally overstepping their bounds. And you know how you said the eating outside thing? LA County now said not even outside dining. Everything's closed. So it's like all these restaurants that probably spent a bunch of money to get outdoor dining to follow the rules are now shut down again, and now even in worse financial situations. So it's not just the mask; it's more so the totality of like the circumstances.
Exactly. And on top of that, on top of that is you also have to consider is like one of the things that they say that what's the people that are affected by COVID the most are what? They're usually either morbidly obese. Or elderly, or they have preconceived medical conditions, like real bad ones. One of them being the most common one being diabetes.
Yeah.
But yet, if you work out, if you eat better, then you could probably highly reduce the chances of you becoming ill or dead.
And why is no one in government telling people to treat your bodies
and that's
better?
what I'm saying. So instead of saying, hey, you know what, we need to eat better, eat cleaner, you need to work out, do running, go jogging, get your cardio up, all those different things like that. It's, hey, go buy a $6 mask and make sure you wear it all the time.
Gotcha. Let me tell you why I ask. So anytime that I post a video, so as all of you know, especially now, I'm off injured. I've been off injured for 6 months. So what I've been doing is recycling old videos to post on social media. That way I just stay like relevant and people can see stuff and whatever, right? Still a familiar face. But anytime I post a video, this is post or this is pre-COVID.
So you don't have a mask on,
So I don't have a mask on. And there's always somebody that goes, well, where's your mask? And then there's always somebody that comments like, oh, get over it. Mask don't do anything. He don't have to wear a mask if he don't want to. And then it turns into like a thread. And I'll scroll and I'll read them. And it'll get to a point where I just delete them because they'll be insulting each other and like threatening each other and whatnot, cussing at each other or something like, let me just delete this thread. But a few months ago, I had this conversation, this exact conversation with a good friend of mine because he is like, I ain't wearing no mask. You ain't gonna force me to wear no mask. If you tell me I can't shop at your grocery store without a mask, I'm gonna still go in there and buy what I need to buy. Like, I mean, he is like die hard about it. So I just asked him, I was like, well, like, what's your hang up with the mask? And he was like, well, it's not constitutional for them to tell me that I have to wear a mask. And I was like, okay, that's deep. I get that. That's deep. I didn't think of it like that. Right? Like I'm genuinely intrigued about this topic, right? So I'm like, okay, that's a curveball. I didn't think about it. So I'm like sitting there pondering for a minute. And he's still kind of going on, and I'm like, well, there are things that are like we're forced to do by law, whether it's like state law or city law. Or different ordinances that like aren't in the Constitution. And I'll give you like a perfect example is, we have the right to bear arms, right? Like you could go out and you could buy a firearm, but nowhere in the Constitution does it say, unless you're a convicted felon. You know what I mean? And I asked him that, like, well, do you agree with this? And he was like, yeah, I agree with that, but it's different. And I'm like, well, how? Like, how is it different? Like, I just want you to tell me, like, why you're so passionate about this, but not passionate about it all. Like, everything that kind of relates to the government doing this. Like, why'd you specifically pick this to be that upset about? And he couldn't give me an answer. So that's legitimately the reason I asked. I'm not being funny. I'm not like,
no, I get it.
Trying to stir the pot. Like, I'm genuinely intrigued because there are a good amount of people out there who are like, I'm not wearing no mask. You ain't gonna force me to wear no mask. If you come talking about put a mask on, we're gonna have to fight. And I'm like,
well, I think for me it's like with the whole convicted felon thing is like when you're a convicted felon, you can't own a firearm because you forfeited your right. Like for me, it's like, hey, you knew what you shouldn't have done, and then because of that, you forfeited that right to own a firearm at that point in time. Whereas a mask mandate, no matter where you decide or not, they're automatically you're already forced to do it, like it or not, type thing.
Gotcha.
And and for me, it's not necessarily the mask thing; it's what could come after that. Like the way I look at it is like, if you can force me to wear a mask, then now what comes next is you're forcing me to do vaccines. You're forcing me to do this. You're forcing me to put a chip in my hand. Like, that's what scares me about it. It's not necessarily the mask. It's more of, if the government is going to start, it's like how do you kill a frog? You put it in a pot and slowly turn up the temperature on it. To me, that's one of those, like, the mask is one of those first steps. It's like, hey, we're going to start making something as small as this mandated and make you seem like if you're the one that doesn't want to wear it, you're the odd man out. And if you're the odd man out, it's easy for everybody to turn against you. Now, don't get me wrong. I think that the masks are great. Like, but at the same time, you shouldn't have to, like, you shouldn't feel bad if somebody doesn't wear a mask or not. You know what I mean? If you're one of those guys that doesn't like wearing a mask, but you're around somebody that, hey, they feel more comfortable wearing a mask, put a mask on.
Yeah, pick your battle.
Yeah, it's not that big of a deal. Pick your battles. The problem is nobody knows how to pick their battles. It's like, I want to be so stubborn that I'm going to walk into a grocery store because I feel so passionate about not wearing a mask. And yet I'm going to bring all this attention my way as opposed to just grabbing my groceries and just getting out there without no confrontation. Whereas if, and I'll leave you on this note, whereas if, like, I just go in there, put a mask on, but if I get a vibe, or I go somewhere out in public, I get a vibe like, hey, everybody's cool, everybody's, not feeling the mask, and cool, I'm going to take my mask off. And I know what the argument is, well, you're continuing to allow the virus spread. Honestly, quite honestly, if we're being honest, nobody really knows how this virus is spreading, because I know people that have worn masks and still get it.
It's
like I know people personally that were very adamant about wearing that mask and still got it. So my point is that people are still getting it whether a mask or they're not wearing masks. So that's why I just think personally, like Billy said, it's kind of overstepping, and it freaks me out because I know people are already right now. There's already technology where they're already putting chips in people. Like, they have gotten chips down as small as a grain of rice.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's absolutely happening. And I'm not with all that. Like, you ain't putting no chip in me. Even this vaccine, like and once again, this might be a controversial statement, but, like, I'm not even sure how I feel about the vaccine, to be honest, because normal vaccines take a very long time. And you got to jump a lot of hurdles, jump through a lot of hoops and whatnot to get it approved. And this one's, like, extremely rushed. And they're like, it's 95%, effective, which I'm like, okay, that's a decent number. But, with my luck, I'll be that 5%. And then what?
But not only that, it's just like, what happened? Like, it's like the first iPhones that come out. Nobody get the first iPhone because they know there's always going to be defections, right?
Yeah, I use that same analogy. So I like this back and forth we're having here, because I feel like a lot of people are going to at least walk away like a little more open minded. So I just want to say this is because he brought up the same exact things you're talking about, and you as well, Billy. And he said the same thing, like, you forcing a mask on me is just their way of experimenting to see how far they could take it, and then what's next, And in his mind, he's always goes back like, they're going to take my guns. So I'm like, okay. I was like, I get that. But then, like, my rebuttal was, once again, just to kind of be inquisitive and, do the back and forth thing, was they've done that. Like, you can't go out the house butt naked. You got to wear clothes.
But
right?
but at the same time, yes, technically you could.
You got covered. Like, guys got to wear drawers and females got to wear drawers. Now they don't got to wear a top, at least here.
But that's biblical though, because as soon as they were ate of the forbidden fruit, they realized they were naked and clothed themselves.
Okay, mic drop Ryan. Mic drop Ryan. Okay.
So that's a biblical thing right there. Okay. So for me, it's just so, like, and we talk about the guns thing. I just saw something recently where President-elect Biden is already talking about taking people's assault rifles and things like that away from them.
You know the craziest thing happened to me the other day?
Your house got robbed?
All my guns are gone.
Dude, I was on a boat and it
like,
sank.
I came home. I was like, where the guns at? All the ammo, I'm like, this is crazy. So
what are you talking about? You being sarcastic right now.
Nah, I had like a bag full of my guns. I was like taking them on vacation. And I turned around, they was just gone. I was like, I don't know if it was
Like
my
that's what
guns,
he would
but-
say if they came to take his
Oh,
guns.
I'm like, bro, I don't know if you should be putting this out on the podcast right now, bro. Like, that's not good. I was thinking, like, I almost started getting them like, Billy, cut it, bro.
Hey, Billy, cut the mic. Cut the mic.
Oh,
Hot mic.
man.
Hot mic.
My bad, bro. I was the
shit,
airhead
man,
moment.
I don't know, man. Like I find that very intriguing, and like something else that I asked him, and like he came up with the semi decent response to this was, say the virus was as deadly as we thought it was originally. Like say it was worse. Like say if you catch this virus, you are guaranteed to die. Like you're gonna die a slow, painful death. Would you reconsider your opinions on the mask? Would you be like, no, everybody better wear this mask?
But that's the
'Cause
point.
I ain't trying to catch this.
At first, nobody knew, so we all thought that, and everyone
Yep.
did stay home. Like,
Yeah.
everyone for a while was okay with a complete shutdown. I'll stay in my home because this could be a zombie apocalypse. But
See,
then
I didn't catch that though.
And then week after week, you realize, wait, the world's not falling apart, and you just start realizing, why are we still being told to stay home? If people were dying by the millions, yeah.
Hey, what's going on, guys? I want to interrupt our podcast episode briefly to highlight our podcast sponsor, which is Thin Line Anthem. When you guys support them, it supports us, and they are a phenomenal business that is created by first responders for first responders to promote health and wellness. And so I take their products. My wife takes their products. I'm feeling a lot better. I've actually lost some weight, and I'm actually gaining strength in the gym. So if you guys want to start that journey to health and wellness, make sure you guys subscribe to Thin Line Anthem products. Go on to thinlineanthem.com. Utilize promo code It's Needed. All caps, no spaces. Thanks again, and enjoy the rest of this episode. Well, not only that, too, like if you think about the long-term effects, like think about all these businesses that are shutting down.
Mm-hmm.
We have not seen the effects of this yet.
Bro, like we have not.
Oh no,
The economy is
no,
still
no.
coasting off of what was good.
Yeah,
we have not seen
we have
yet.
not, and that's the thing is like it's scary because
I agree with
restaurants are not going to continue to be able to pay the bills. These fitness centers, like none of that, and so we have the right. If you, and this is where it kind of goes back to me, is like if you're this terrified about COVID-19, you have every right to stay at home. Most people are working from home anyway.
Yeah, yep,
So unless
yep.
unless you are a first responder or somebody that's what is it called, essential worker, you can technically stay home. But if you ain't really, if you're like, hey, ain't that big a deal, like I'm gonna go out there, then go out. You know what I mean? So it's like, so if you're saying that the mask are the end all be all, like it'd be one thing if they said, hey, masks have been proven to 100% effectively stop the spread of this virus. Then I'd be like, you know what? Absolutely. But nobody's been able to prove that. And they keep saying, well, it's to slow it down, slow the spread down. That ain't going to stop that's not going to stop the spread of this virus. It's not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
So-
why didn't we take this measurement with the flu? We've never taken these type of measures with the flu.
Man, I got the H1N1 shot when the bird flu was going around. We were mandated. So for those of you who don't know, like a lot of police officers are mandated to take certain shots. At least we were. So I was mandated to take this H1N1 shot, and I took it, and it tore me apart. I was down for like a week, bro, like sick. Like, yeah, it tore me apart. So ever since then, and that's why I kind of made the vaccine comment, like, you don't know, because you don't know. But and if for everybody listening, like this is for educational purposes. This is an educational conversation. This is how you learn. Please don't hate us for this. But you have to be inquisitive. You have to be inquisitive about what's going on in the world, and not only about this, but about every aspect of your life. Like if you are concrete, set in stone about one thing in your life, I highly suggest that you find somebody that's concrete, set in stone, the complete opposite, and have a conversation with that person to at least see different perspectives. So this is a perfect example of that.
And not only that, if you're listening to this, like one of the things that I've always valued about, having dialogue with people is that you learn that you may view things differently. So I had a conversation with a guy the other day, and he doesn't know where I stand politically or with mask or no mask or anything. And I do a presentation, and in my presentation, I bring up all of these different dividing factors that are going on in our present day society right now. And one of the things I bring up is mask or no mask. And then I always ask people, how do you, when you see that statement or when you hear that statement, mask or no mask, and how do you feel? Give me the first couple words that come to your mind. And people are like, don't be stupid, wear a mask. And when I was talking to this one guy the other day, he's like, man, if people would just stop being freaking idiots and just wear a mask. And in my mind, I'm thinking like, you don't even know where I stand on that.
Yeah,
You don't know. Like, how do you know? I'm not one of those guys that's like, nah, I'm good on wearing the mask. So now you're calling me an idiot. So my point is that
to my face.
Yeah, like you can feel how you want to feel, but you shouldn't crucify the next person because they feel differently. Even, and I'm talking about people. I'm talking about there's a lot of Black Lives Matter activists out there, which I'm telling you right now, or people within the organization, and I'm talking about what they stand for, not the people that just claim Black Lives Matter but don't really know what the organization stands for. I'm talking about the Black Lives Matter people that I think are completely way out base, completely not in line with how I view things, but I still wouldn't come at them and just treat them like they're freaking idiots. I wouldn't come at them or make them feel that way, or I wouldn't tell them that they're dumb. I would have an open dialogue with them. I would say how I feel, and then they can tell me how they feel. I don't need to agree with it, but I'm not going to try to cast stones on them for thinking a certain type of way. At the end of the day, they got to take that up with God. That ain't for me. That ain't for me to come. That's not for me to judge you. And so I always use that line, even when I arrest people. And if you're a police officer listening to this, one of the things I always tell people when I take people to jail is like, look, man, my job is not to judge you. My job is to do a job and take you to jail if you've done something that you're not supposed to be doing, but I can't judge you. And that's even on the most heinous crimes that you can even think of. You know, child sex crimes, you know, rape investigations, you name it. Even as bad as it may be, and even as bad as I may want to, you know, punch the dude in the face or whatever, I still can't judge that person. I still can't judge them because at the end of the day, we only have one judge. And so how does it look if I judge them? Now I open myself up to being judged by everybody else. And I know I'm not the most perfect person.
And you never know how far that's going to reach, like how far your biases or the things that you do without knowing that you're doing them is going to reach and who it's going to affect. So if you were to put somebody from the USA in a room with a bunch of food, you got bread, eggs, you got candy, sprinkles, all this stuff, right?
Greens,
beans, tomatoes. I hear you, Billy. All right. And then if you were to take pretty much the same person, right? Same age group, same demographic, whatever, same race, whatever, from Amsterdam and put him in that same room. They're in that room together. It's 9 a.m. and you go, hey, I want you both to make breakfast. I can't say it. Breakfast. Mm-hmm. You know what the person from America is going to do? They're going to grab some eggs. They're going to toast them. They're going to grab some bread. They're going to toast it. They're going to put some eggs. They're going to scramble them up. They're going to put some bacon in there. They're going to make a meal, right? Like what we know.
Or they're going to DoorDash it
as the meal that we eat in the morning, right? You know what the person from Amsterdam is going to do? They're going to grab some bread. They're going to grab some butter. They're going to put the butter on the bread. Then they're going to grab the chocolate sprinkles and sprinkle it on the bread and then eat it. Because that's what they normally eat in the morning and sometimes at lunch. Now, AJ, what relevance does this have to what we were just talking about? We're going to do that without thinking about it. Why is that? Because of the environment in which we were raised or the environment in which we choose to submerge ourselves in. Mm-hmm. So I want you to ask yourself, you Ryan, you Billy, you listening to this, you watching this, what else are you doing without knowing that you're doing it, and how far does that reach? What else are you doing that you don't know you're doing that's stopping you from being the best version of yourself? You have to be careful of who you surround yourself with, because if you surround yourself by people who are nothing but like-minded individuals such as yourself, then you're never going to learn, you're never going to grow, and you're going to continue to find yourself in these situations that you've been in time and time and time again, because you're restricting your growth. But the moment you step out and you learn a different perspective, you might look back and think, wow, well, why did I used to do that? Was dumb of me. Why did I used to do this? My entire life I did this. Prime example, I grew up in the inner city hating police officers. That was my circle. That was my environment. That's what the environment that I was raised in and that I chose to stay in at the time told me to do. They trained me. Hate the cops. Anytime you see a cop, this is the emotion I want you to feel. I want you to not trust them. I want you to think that they're racist. So that's what I did. But the moment that I stepped out of that environment and looked back in, I went, hold up. That's not right, because there are a lot of good police officers out there. And now I'm a police officer, right? Because I took that step. So you have to be careful when you crucify people who are willing to have dialogue, such as Ryan and myself right now, and Billy, because this is how you grow. You have to be able to have these conversations with people, or you'll forever find yourself stepping in that same hole over and over and over again.
Well, you can even take it a step further too, is like, if we're talking to our police officers out there or aspiring police officers, like, how could you use this same philosophy that AJ's talking about to do your job better? And one of the things that I've done is, like, every time I arrest somebody or I'm talking to somebody, you got to be able to take yourself out of your own shoes and put yourself in somebody else's shoes. It's so easy to think about, like, when it's funny, I'll like be out in the public sometimes, and I'll like, I'll be dealing with somebody that's just a complete turd. Like, somebody that's like, man, this dude gets on my freaking nerves. He's, America's Most Wanted, just irritates you. But then that's looking at it from Ryan's lens. And the reason it's looking at it from Ryan's lens is because I'm only seeing the aftermath of what is probably a result of what he grew up in or his environment. And so if I took myself and put him in his shoes, and I saw the trauma that he went through, if I saw the abuse that he went through, the sexual abuse that he might have gone through, the molestations that he went through, there's a kid right now, I'm actually going to go visit him today. He's 10 years old. And, I went on a call last week because he wouldn't get out of the car and go to the hospital because the foster mom said, hey, he's a danger to everybody in the house. And he didn't want to get out of the car. So I went and talked to him just for a little bit. And look, young, cool little kid. I mean, he's definitely probably troublesome and like causing problems, but I just talked to him on his level. But I'm like, man, like, putting myself in his shoes, like, what would it be like if I've been in 4 or 5 foster homes by the time I'm age 10?
Yeah.
What would it be like if I had a parent that came into my life and then all of a sudden I thought, oh, this is going to be a change, and then they left again? Or you were born and never even had that parent in your life. You know what I mean? And so by putting myself in their shoes, it doesn't excuse the trouble that they got in. It doesn't excuse, like, if I'm talking about, like, from a spiritual standpoint, it doesn't excuse the sin, but at least allows me to understand the sin. You know what I mean? And when I understand it, I come from a place of grace and mercy as opposed to a place from crucifixion. You know what I mean? Because if you crucify somebody for that, then that's like you're not taking the pin out of your own eye. But if you come from a place of grace and mercy, then it allows you to empathize with that person, and you don't have to be so judgmental. And that's what's so bad about the society we live in right now is everybody's so freaking judgmental. Like, chill out with all that. Like, if you don't want to wear a mask, I ain't tripping. If you want to wear a mask, I ain't tripping. Tell me, hey, Ryan, hey, would you mind putting on your mask? Yeah, I'm not tripping. And don't get all butthurt because they asked me to put a mask on, and vice versa. You know what I mean? And I think that's where we have to learn to get, because it's really sad. And that's what, if we talk about Satan, what is Satan trying to do? He's trying to divide. Well, why do you want to divide? Because when you divide, you can conquer. You know what I mean? It's the art of war. Go read the art of war, and you can see in the art of war, one of the main things it talks about is divide your enemy, so that way you can conquer them.
Yep. And if you want to relate that even deeper into the profession of law enforcement, replace sin, the word sin that Ryan used, with the word crime, right? Like, when you dig deeper and find out why people are doing what they're doing, it doesn't erase the fact that they're committing a crime, and it doesn't forgive the fact that they're committing a crime and that they have to go to jail or that they have to get a citation. But it just might give you an understanding of why they're doing what they're doing. And then if you take it a step further, how to solve that issue. Maybe it's too late for that person, which I don't really believe in it being too late ever. But maybe you could change the next generation or the generation after that. When I first started working at the department I work at now, Man, crime was crazy at the precinct I worked. There was prostitution on the main strip, like crazy. They were just out there. They would wave at you when you drove by. You would see them getting out of cars. There were dope boys in trap houses with a line to get into the door. And I'm like, this is so foreign to me. And once again, I grew up in the thick of it. And I remember hearing officers time and time again make statements such as, oh, did you see Stacy out there on the street again? Like, I don't understand why she's out here every single day. Like, her mom is a nurse practitioner. Like, she doesn't have to be out here. And I would ask him, like, well, did you ask her why she's out here every day? No, it don't matter. Like, it's not going to change anything, and blah, blah, blah. Or, why is Ryan out here selling dope 24/7? He gets arrested. He gets out 6 months later. He's back slinging dope. Like, he makes enough money to invest in businesses. And, you know, we know how much money he has stashed away at this point because we calculated X, Y, and Z. He has enough to retire, but he's not doing it. Why does he continue to do this? Well, did you ask him? So I took it amongst myself to do so. I found Stacy. Hey, I actually recorded a video with her where she was reading poetry because during the conversation that I had with her, she had a book with her. And I said, hey, what's in the book? And she's like, well, I write poetry. I was like, well, do you mind reading it? And it took my breath away. She talked about everything, the exact circumstances that led up to her living the life that she does. And I'm not making excuses for her, but she's like, look, I was raped at a very young age. She's like, I went to a party when I was a freshman in high school and somebody injected me with heroin. I've been addicted ever since. I have to shoot up almost every other hour. I can't afford this any other way. I have tattoos on my face. I don't have an education because I dropped out of high school. This is the only way that I know to support my drug habit, or I feel like I'm going to die. And I was like, okay, I get it. I get why you're out here. I wish that you weren't. I'm still going to do everything in my power to make sure that you're not out here anymore, whether it's arresting you, whether it's putting you in drug rehab treatment centers, whether it's praying for you, which I do every single day. I'm going to do everything in my power, but now I understand it. And then I went and found Ryan. I'm like, Ryan, bruh, you just got out. You back at the trap house. Like, I get it. You're smart, man. You got money. You got these nice cars. You got a house in a nice suburb that we know about. Like, why are you still out here? I'm addicted to the lifestyle, man. I'm addicted. There's no better feeling for me than walking into a club and everybody knows who I am and they're all fearing me. I came from nothing, AJ. Nothing. My dad is in prison. My mom died at an early age. We come from a trailer park. Like, I'm addicted to this lifestyle. How else am I going to get to this position I'm in if I don't sell drugs? Okay, I get it. Once again, this doesn't excuse the fact that you're a drug dealer and I'm going to arrest you the first chance that I get. But now I understand why you do what you do. It's important to have these conversations and to see perspective, because now what you might be able to do is go, okay, Stacy got addicted to heroin when she was a freshman in high school. So what do I need to do? I need to get into these high schools and I need to tell them this story. So when they go to a party, they know they better not ever put a needle nowhere near any vein in their body. And then what do? I got to go to the trailer parks because Ryan was from a trailer park and he never envisioned him living the life that he does other than selling drugs, or he never envisioned getting to the life that he lives any other route without selling drugs. So I need to plant seeds to these kids in trailer parks and let them know, hey, this is the life that I live. I'm comfortable. I'm a police officer. You could be a firefighter. You could be a doctor. You could be whatever you want. There's financial aid in place for people like you who come from financially ill homes to where you could afford to go to college, and plant those seeds. Because now what are you doing? You're breaking generational curses. You have to have these conversations, and people are going to talk crap about you. People are going to be like, well, why is AJ out here talking to these prostitutes and these drug dealers? You know, he's in cahoots with them. Man, let them talk. Like Ryan said, let God deal with all of that. You know why you're here. Take the scrutiny. Take the people talking crap behind your back. Ryan said it earlier. Look, I'm going to get on my soapbox. Ryan said it earlier. 2020 has been one of them years. But it's up to you what one of them years means. How you going to finish this year? Are you going to let this year continue to beat you down like it's doing the majority of other people in this world? You hear it every single day. Oh man, 2020. Woo, man, 2020 was hard. Everybody got laid off. So what you going to do about it to separate yourself from everybody else that got laid off? Well, 2020, man, everybody hate the police. So what you going to do to separate yourself from all the rest of these officers to bring a different perspective?
Exactly.
You have to be willing to have these conversations, even if it's during an anti-police rally and you're in full uniform. Hey, excuse me. Can you just tell me, like, why do you hate me so much? They might not want to talk to you. Okay, it's 10,000 people out there. I'm going to ask all 10,000 until I get an answer. And if none of them want to talk to me, at least I tried. But guess what? The chances of you having someone and stopping to talk to you by the time you reach 10 people is astronomically high. Well, I hate you because I keep seeing these videos of you killing my brothers and sisters strictly based off the color of their skin. And then maybe you could bring a different perspective and go, hey, look, there's 1 million police officers in the United States. How many videos have you seen? What percentage is that? If every single one of those videos is justified, then do you honestly think that I would do something like that based off of those videos? And maybe you'll change his mind, or maybe he'll change your mind. But the fact of the matter is you're having a dialogue, and we talked about it before. The moment that you start having these dialogues and these conversations and you put yourself in these positions to where you're uncomfortable will be the moment that you could grow, because these other 9,999 protesters are going to see you in full uniform talking to one of their brothers or sisters that are out there protesting and go, okay, well, if he could do it, I want to talk to a cop. I want a cop to answer for what his brother or sister did. And it's a domino effect.
Yep. Absolutely.
So excuse me while I'm on my soapbox, but
no, that was good. And I think it's important for everybody to realize, and kind of brings me back. I actually had the opportunity the other day to I did a panel with probably about 7 high school students, and it was with Dr. Holmes. And the panel discussion was cool because they were answering Dr. Holmes and I's questions about how they feel, but they were answering it to adults. So it gave them a voice that they typically don't have. They're all high school students. And so I think a lot of times we don't give a lot of the younger generation enough credit. We're always bad mouthing them, talking about they're soft and this and that. And I get it. Like, they are soft in their own perspective. Our generation is soft. Every generation is soft. Every generation is softer and softer. In their own retrospect. But anyways, at the end of the conference, they all had their closing statements, and one of the girls said something that actually stuck out to me, so much so that I wrote it down, and I wanted to read it off. And it says, "Don't be the reason someone doesn't believe in themselves." And I was like, wow, like that actually stuck with me big time. I'm gonna say that one more time. Don't be the reason that someone doesn't believe in themselves. And what I got from that was this: is that are you taking somebody's dreams away from them? Are you taking their aspirations from them? Are you, taking the air out of their balloon just because you don't see it from your perspective? Just because you don't see things the way they view it? Are you taking the wind out of their sail just because you think it should be done your way instead of their way? And don't be that person. Don't be that person, because there are a lot of people out there right now that have dreams. There are a lot of people out there that have goals. There are a lot of people that want to go out there and do certain things, but you could be that person to take the wind out of their sail. Now, I'll say this to say that I say that to say this is that if you're on the receiving end of it, if you're the one person that's getting that negative information from people, don't worry about what they're saying. Just keep pushing and keep moving forward. Don't ever let anybody take the wind out of your sails. But at the same time, don't be the person that's trying to take the wind out of somebody else's sails. Like, stop being a hater. Like, that's what it comes down to. Like, and I think it kind of summing up our whole conversation today is like, we got to get away from judging people just because they don't look like us, just because they don't talk like us, just because they don't think like us. God made every single one of us different and unique in our own way. They're even twins, even identical twins are still different. You know what I mean? They may look identical. They may sound identical. They may have identical facial features or birthmarks on their body, but they're still different. The soul is still different. And so that's what the beauty of life is. And we gotta understand something. Again, I'm gonna get on my Christian soapbox right now, but
get on it.
At the end of the day, we have to realize that Scripture says that God made man in his own image. So even the person that you think is completely off, even the person that is super pro-mask, the person that is complete anti-mask, even the Biden supporters, even the Trump supporters, even, the Black Lives Matter and even the Blue Lives Matter, every single human being that was on this earth was made in God's image. Now, the sin is not a part of God. The sin is our own fleshly thing. But at the end of the day, when they first took their first breath of life into this world, they were still made in the image of God. That's right. So you can't start trying to judge people, because that's not our job. And every single one of us has the ability to go out there and do the same works as Christ and even greater than according to Scripture, if as long as we tap into it. And so my point is this, is that we got to get out of this place where we're always judging people for what they think. Yeah, just because they may not see it like you do, don't judge them for that. Stop making people feel bad. Like, you know, if you got to walk into a store and you got to put a mask on, put a mask on. It ain't that big a deal. It is not, we're not living in the Holocaust right now. We're not. You know what I mean? Like, so put a mask on. But if you go to a party and everybody's cool with not wearing masks, then cool. Don't wear a mask. And don't be the person that's judging all these people for hanging out at the party for not wearing masks. Don't be judging them for that. You know what I mean? Like, we got to get to that place. And that's what's so sad, is that, you know, nobody, you can't think for yourself anymore.
You got Billy in the background punching the air right now. Like, I don't. You all right, Billy?
I don't want to wear those masks.
No, I'm not an anti-masker.
No, I wouldn't say you're anti-masker, Billy. Billy, you got anything to add to this? This is some good conversation.
Yeah, kind of to what you were talking about, how you'd hear police officers kind of talking about, like, why are they doing this? Why are they doing that? And they wouldn't do anything about it. And you'd go talk to them. There's a quote from Jordan Peterson, and he's kind of like a modern day philosopher. It's really interesting to listen to him talk. But it's a simple quote, but it says, "You may come to ask yourself, what should I do today? In a manner, that means, how can I use my time to make things better instead of worse?" So I thought that's like a simplistic question. So I think it's a simplistic quote, like, how can I use my time to make things better instead of worse? But that can lead to really great things. So, like, you going to talk to the prostitute on the street or the dope boy, you're trying to make things better, even if it's little steps. So I think that's just a great thing for everyone to think about.
And I'll give you a selfish reason, just because I know that there's people out there who have the mindset of like, well, what's in it for me? It makes you feel good. Like, when you do something good, like, you sleep better at night. Like, you just know, like, man, I added value to the world today. You know, whether it's Christmas is coming up, instead of buying all these toys for your kids, why don't you tell them, hey, each one of y'all getting two toys that you could pick out for yourself, and then you got to pick out 2 more toys because we're going to take them to the orphanage down the street or the foster home down the street. And afterwards, you're going to be like, oh my goodness, I feel so good. I taught my kids a valuable lesson. Like, just think outside the box. And it comes easy when you're passionate about it. And if you're not passionate about it, you will be the moment that you start doing it. There's very few feelings in the world like that. And just to elaborate on this whole conversation a little bit more, I'm not sure if we talked about this or not, but I use it during one of my speeches, is there was an experiment that was done years ago. And I'm sure, Ryan, you know about this. I'm not sure if Billy does, to where they grabbed a glass mason jar, and they put some fleas in it. They left the lid off. All the fleas kept jumping out of the glass jar. So what they did is they put the fleas in, and they screwed the lid down. And then what happened? All the fleas started jumping up to the top, hitting their head. Bing, hitting their head, hitting their head, hitting their head. After a while, they took the lid off, set it down. What do you think happened? The fleas automatically assumed that they could only jump so high, so they wouldn't jump out of the jar anymore. But to take it a step further, when those fleas had kids, those kids are born with a vertical high enough to jump out of the jar. But guess what they never did? They never jumped high enough to get out of the jar, because everyone in their community told them this is how high we could jump. And you could try this at home. You could look it up. There's videos of people doing it. This is real. Like, who you surround yourself with matters. Surround yourself with people who look like what you want to look like, whether it's your religious life, right? Like, you can't expect to live this phenomenal religious life if you surround yourself by people who are the opposite. Whether it's financial, right? Like, I want to have a house and a boat and a truck to pull the boat. You can't live that life and constantly surround yourself by financially irresponsible people. Whether it's an educational level, right? I want to be a scholar and I want to speak at these universities. I can't be that person if I constantly surround myself by people who refuse to educate themselves.
Yep.
It matters. And you being a police officer, you see where we're at as a profession. Whether you agree with it, whether you don't, whatever your theory is that landed us to be where we're at, no matter what it is, we're here, which means what? What we've been doing has not worked. So you have two options. You could continue to surround yourself with officers who think like we've thought for years and continue to remain in the situation that we're in, or you could surround yourself by people who think outside of the box, whether those are community members or police officers who are doing something extraordinary or outside of the box or unusual, and watch the profession change.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm gonna end on this meme that I saw the other day, and then we're gonna go transition to wrap up this podcast. But this guy I follow, his name is Byron Rogers. He posted a meme the other day, and it really kind of hit me and touched me. But it said, "Sometimes what you have is a dream for others," and this is what. And there was a picture of this little girl. Looks like a jacked up house, and I mean, looks like they got like some type of just throw together food or whatever, And so this is what he said. He said, turn your expectations into appreciation and your life will become a miracle because perspective dictates performance. The most important conversation you will have today will be the one taking place in your own mind with yourself. And so, but when I saw that picture, I was like, man, like, sometimes, me and my wife, we want this, we want that. My kids want this, always want something. And, but when I look back and I'm like, man, I want the, I wish I had this, but I'm thinking like, man, everything I already have is probably a dream to others.
Man, listen, I know we got to wrap it up, but I have to share this story. When I first met my wife, I met her at church. She was a youth pastor at the time, or youth leader at the time. And I got hired for special duty, meaning I was just security for the church. Seeing her, I was like, yeah, she mine. Snatched her up real quick, laid my game on her.
Top flight security of the world, Craig.
That's right. Top flight of the world, babe. So anyway, things started getting serious. And she's like, well, I want to serve together because that is a foundation on which I stand on. So I want to serve with you to see how you serve. And I just want us to have these shared beliefs and interests. So I'm like, okay, like what'd you have in mind? She's like, well, I want to go on a mission trip. I'm like, oh, I ain't never been on no mission trip. And she's like, I want to go to El Salvador. And I just want to help out in any way possible, whatever it looks like. I just want to go down there with you and serve. And I will die always remembering what that trip meant to me, because it put things into perspective like probably nothing else could have. We got there. And, and it's a cool story, right? Like I met with the police officers and, we did mental health training and stress management, and Shelby put on like a medical clinic and, helped pass out medical supplies. And we built beds. Okay. This is where I'm going with this story is we started building beds from scrap, right? Like 2x4s, cutting them, putting together beds. Then we went to a local store because we want to stimulate the local economy, give these communities financial aid and whatnot. And we bought mattresses. And then we delivered these beds to homes. And I'm very selective when I say the word homes, because we were not delivering beds to houses. We were not delivering beds to apartment complex, condominiums, anything like that. I'm talking huts, sheet metal with straw on top. And there's 6 kids sleeping on one mattress, 2 parents sleeping on a blanket that's on a dirt floor. And we're delivering beds here. And here we are being ungrateful because the drive-through line take too long. Right? Oh my goodness, the check engine light on my $50,000 truck just came on. I'm gonna complain about it. Oh, I gotta buy tires on my brand new vehicle that I just got. I'm gonna complain about it. People would kill to be in your position. If you have a roof over your head, if you have clothes on your back, and if you got food in a refrigerator, people would kill for one of those, and you got all 3. You are extremely blessed. And the moment that you realize that and you flip the switch and go, you know what? I'm thankful for everything that I have, no matter how small it may seem to everyone else around me. It'll be hard for you to find yourself in a negative mental space. You'll be so much more appreciative of everything you got. You wake up, oh my goodness, the AC is off. At least I got a roof over my head. We ain't got nothing to eat but hot dogs again. At least you got hot dogs. At least you got some food. These kids are literally starving to death in their homes with their parent. Can you imagine being a parent and you can't supply for your kids to the point where they die?
Man,
we have to do better. We have to do better. I know this is a deep episode, but like we have to do better. We have to be appreciative. Be thankful you have a job. We'll turn it back into the law enforcement aspect of things. Everyone hates me. You got a job?
Yep.
You know how many people laid off right now?
Yep. Exactly.
You got a job.
Yep. Man, that was a great word. And so what I'm gonna do is it's Thanksgiving week, and what I'm gonna do is I feel led to pray for our followers, and then we're gonna wrap it up. All right. So, dear Heavenly Father, we come before you, and I just ask that you would just bless all of our listeners that are listening to this podcast or viewers, and just be with them right where they're at. And just like AJ was talking about, just remind us to be thankful for everything we have. We may not be able to spend quality time with all the family members like we do on Thanksgiving, but I just ask that you just allow us to be thankful, to just be able to have life, to be able to have a life abundantly, whether it's by having a nice house or whether it's by having a small one-bedroom apartment, but just the ability to just wake up and just serve you and just serve others. I ask that this Thanksgiving season that you would just allow it to be one filled with just thinking about our neighbor as opposed to thinking about ourselves. Allow us to just think about those that don't have anything. Allow us to focus our heart on just loving people, and just remove any anxiety, depression, suicidal thoughts, whatever it may be. Remove it from all of our listeners right now, and just remind them that every single one of them matters, and every single one of them has the ability to go out there and really just create just joy and love for somebody that may not be experiencing like they need to. So we love you, Lord Jesus. We thank you, and I just ask that you would keep everybody safe over this holiday season. Allow them all to have a happy Thanksgiving, and most importantly, allow us to all be thankful for one another. So we ask these things for it's in your son's name, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
All right.
Amen.
Now on that note, I got to go on a high note. One got to go.
Oh, yes. Let's go.
One got to go. So last week we went with some of the entrees. Today I'm going dessert. All right.
Ooh.
And so, and by the way, Billy, one of our listeners crucified you. He was like, hey, somebody got to get Billy off of there. He said Green's got to go. So here it is this week. Dutch apple pie. We got peach cobbler, sweet potato pie, and pumpkin pie. One got to go.
Oh, pecan pie's not even on there.
It's a no-brainer for me.
This a no-brainer. Yeah, no-brainer. Billy, you got to go first, as always.
You say there's pumpkin and sweet potato. Isn't that pretty similar? Or no?
Negative, but
No.
go ahead.
I'm going to go. The peach cobbler is going to go for me.
Hurt my heart.
Dude, my favorite's pecan pie. It's not even on there. So.
The first one got to go.
Did you say
The
Dutch
first one
apple pie?
Apple pie?
Bro, Dutch apple pie.
Are you
Oh,
American?
tripping.
What are you getting? What?
Are you even American? Oh,
Apple pie is American as Plymouth
tripping.
Rock, dude.
you tripping. We all gonna be different on this one. So the pumpkin pie got to go.
Oh, Thanksgiving, you get rid of pumpkin pie?
gotta go. Bro,
On Thanksgiving?
when you got sweet potato pie, who even eats the pumpkin pie, bro? That's your white side.
I wish I could hang up right now.
That's your white side coming out, bro.
It's not.
The black side would have been like, oh yeah, pumpkin pie definitely got to go. We got sweet potato pie.
No.
We got sweet potato.
His white side would never get rid of apple pie. All right, just speaking from that side.
Exactly.
Billy's like, no, the white people elect. Apple pie got to stay.
What makes apple pie a Dutch apple pie? Like what?
Dog, the crumbs on top, bro. So you got.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, so the mere fact that you don't even know the different type of apple pie. Do you
it's
even know what a la
trash
mode means?
Yeah, it's that one word.
He's looking it up
with ice cream, right?
Yes,
with ice cream.
ice cream. He's looking it up. Oh
Hey,
man,
okay.
so we all
So we need
different.
a way-
We need to do what we need to do on our Instagram
make
page
a
today.
post.
Let's put this up on our Instagram. Yep,
We're gonna make a post. Yep.
we need to know. We need a survey. One got to go. I need to know which one. I said pumpkin. Billy said peach cobbler, and AJ said apple pie. Which
Do you guys have peach cobbler at Thanksgiving? Is that like
absolutely,
a staple? Yeah.
yeah. In the
I'm
black
disgusted
world,
in both
yes.
of y'all.
In a black robe,
I'm
yes.
like thoroughly disgusted.
What
But
did
it's
you
a
want me
fun
to put?
game. I
German
like
chocolate cake?
You said what?
German chocolate cake? I could have threw in some German chocolate cake.
German cake, good.
Or lemon
I
cake.
would rather have that than Dutch apple pie.
Bro, you tripping for that.
It's Dutch. It's not even American. Like, can we
There
talk
goes all our
about
Dutch
that?
listeners.
Yeah. Thanks, AJ. Our Dutch
got
listeners. All right, y'all. Well, hey, this has been a great episode. We always appreciate you guys tuning in. Before we leave, I got to give a shout out to our sponsor, Thin Line Anthem. If you guys are into health and wellness, and I know you guys are going to be eating a lot this Thanksgiving, because I will. Once Thanksgiving is over and once Christmas is over, you're going to need to get back into shape, and the best way to do that is with Thin Line Anthem products. And so please go on to thinlineanthem.com, type in promo code It's Needed, all caps, no spaces, for 25% off your order.
Yes, sir.
And you can get that out checkout. So thank you, Thin Line Anthem sponsor, for supporting us throughout this podcast. With that being said, we'll see y'all next week.
Peace.